Oh, he's here. Yeah, motherfucker, about time. Finally. We got car parts, people. Oh, yes. Yo, let's just get it done. Let's go. Alright, fellas, today's the day, baby. About to put a nice little front mount on there. Yes, sir. First thing you want to do is jack the car up. Me, I ended up getting the Rhino ramps. Now, because of my front lip, I can't ride directly on it. So this is how I did it. Focus. You're gonna need a piece of 2x4 long enough. Set it up like that. And then you'll drive up the 2x4. Then you can drive onto the ramp. Alright, so now that I got the car on ramps, first thing I'm gonna do is go under the car. See, I also put those jack stands there just in case. You know, safety first. But we're gonna want to take off our splash shield. It's gonna be hard to see, but there's a bunch of clips and 6 screws that you're gonna need to take out. Let's see if I can show you the clips. So in front of the car, you go under. You're going to have 1, 2, 3 screws in the very front. All right. Then you're gonna have this bolt, and directly across on the other side, that bolt that you need to take out. Then if you follow the fender, here's your scrape plate. You're gonna take out this clip, this clip. On the other side, there's 2 of them. This one, that one. Then on each side, so here's the tire. Here's the passenger side tire. You look over, you have this clip right here. And then over here, oh shit, it's dark as fuck. This clip right here, there's gonna be one up there too, way up here, right here, bam, that clip. So essentially you have 3 right here on the sides, and then it's the same exact on the other side. You're gonna have 3 in the same locations you gotta take off. And now get your splash shield off. All right, once you get your splash guard off, you're gonna take your skid plate off, these 4 bolts. By the way, the 6 bolts, these 4, and the 2 that we're holding in the splash guard are 12 millimeters. Use a 6 point. I'm just using the deep socket. So I'm gonna take that out. All right, got the splash shield and the scrape plate off. So now we're gonna work in the engine. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take our intercooler off. It's extremely easy. You got, this is your bracket and some bolts. These are also 12 millimeters. Oh, I'm gonna take these 2 bolts off. I'm gonna leave this bolt on because I'm gonna just pull the intercooler off with the bracket. So these 2 bolts off. There's going to be a worm clamp right there. You can see you're gonna have to loosen that so that can come off the throttle body. And on this side, you have 1 bolt right here. And then you gotta take this worm clamp off. Mine's a T-bolt clamp, because I put this on after I installed my AOS like a month ago. So yours will be a worm clamp. But yeah, 1 bolt, loosen that. 2 bolts, bam bam, loosen that. Intercooler will come out. So let's do that now. All right, now that we got the intercooler off, it's over there. This is the fun part. Shit's about to get real. We're gonna go into the car. That's why we jacked it up. Okay, once we get into the car, we're gonna unclamp this, the turbo inlet. This goes to your air box up there. We're gonna unclamp this, pop this off, and just move it to the side. Alright, here's a better angle. Here's the turbo inlet. So we had this hose in there. Oops. Remember, we popped that off. This hose was in here. I just went ahead, popped it off, and moved it so I had room. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take this bolt off. There's a bolt directly on the other side across. Bam, right there. We're going to take those 2 bolts off. That's step 1. This bolt was easy. You can just use a 10mm and a ratchet. The one on the other side, you're going to have to use a long extension. And go up through like that and take that bolt off. And then you're going to take that worm clamp off, right? Where am I? Right there. That I got loose. That worm clamp is holding your bypass valve to your charge pipe. And your charge pipe is still bolted to the turbo. So once you take that worm clamp off, you can move this bypass valve off the charge pipe. And since you have your turbo inlet unbolted from the turbo, all this, oh shit, my bad, I'm too close. All this can come off in one piece. So you'll take your turbo inlet and your bypass valve at the same time and take it off. I'm gonna have to take this off. The vacuum line that goes to your blow off valve. Take that off, and then I can move all this at once. I can't do it with one hand, so let me do it real quick. Alright, so now that's hanging. See, so it's my inlet and my bypass valve. It was on there like this. And once you unbolt it and unclamp it, it all pulls out. I took that vacuum line off the bypass valve, and these 2 vacuum lines that were right there, bam, bam, and bam. Now you can just leave that hanging. Okay, so now we can easily access, this is your charge pipe. So we have this bolt and this bolt. We're gonna take those 2 bolts off, and in your charge pipe, we'll go back to the top of the car, and that'll pull right out. So we're gonna do that now. All right, so I got those 2 bolts out. I just used, they're 12mm. You can use a ratchet. I just used a wrench with a flex head ratchet style. They're not on there super tight. You don't have to worry about it. It's the cold side of the turbo, so they won't be rusted or stuck on there like the J pipe, like those damn bolts. But anyways, yep. So now this is off, so I can go on the top of the car. And because we already took the intercooler off, this is going to come right off. But first, I got to take this damn thing off. Whoops. So let me go ahead and do that. Okay, now that I got that off, this comes right off. You got to finagle it and get that off, but it'll come off. Oh, look, he showed up. There's my girlfriend. Let's surprise her. She doesn't like videos. Let's go see what she's doing. Pit stop. Show them what you're working with, babe. Show them what you're working with. Our fellas got it out. So you're gonna have to do some finagling to get it out, but it's gonna come out. There it is. Charge pipe is out. All right, now we're gonna take off the bumper. We could have did this first, Also, it doesn't matter, you know, but it consists of clips and bolts. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bolts. 1, 2, and 3 clips. So I'm gonna remove all those. I'll do that now. So once you take all those bolts and screws out, remove that trim. There it is. You got pop clips. I took this one out already on your side fender right here. I'll show you another side. What you do is you basically just push that in. Once you push it in, you get under it. And it comes out. Yeah. And you got that. Now we could take our bumper off. What I'd like to do is get one of those screws. You just put it back in there. Just one. Not tight all the way. Because I'm by myself. If I had somebody else, it'd be easier. So then I can pop this side out. Walk over here, pop this side out, and not worry about the bumper falling. So that's why I put this screw in there. There's also 2 clips on the bottom. It all depends on your setup. See, I have a front lip. So you have these 3 pop clips that you got to take off. But you took those off when you took the liner off. So now with my front lip, I don't know if anything changes. I don't know if I have to take these ones off. And I also got screws over here. I don't know yet until I pop it out. Once I pop it out, I'll have a better idea. So let me pop it all out first and then we'll go from there. Be careful with these clips when you pop it out. But yeah, just get these and just pop it out. All right, so I did have to end up taking 6 other clips. This one, these 2, bam, bam, and those ones on the ends, bam. So 1, 2, 3, and the same on the other side, bam, bam, bam. I broke 2 of them. That's why it's always good to have extra clips. I got extra ones though, so now, see it's all loose. I'm gonna pop it off. Be careful with these clips. You don't want to break them. All right, so I popped it off. You're gonna have to take those out. The harness or that clip to your lights off. But it's hard to do it when you're by yourself. So I put that box down there to kind of hold this up. So I can come on this side and unclip that and then unclip the other side. All right, so the easiest way to do that was to get a flathead like so, boom, and then pop it out. And both those are out. There it is. All right. We're getting close. Now, I had to take this off, obviously. And then this just comes right off. We're not going to use this again, so don't need that. So now, I'm going to unscrew this, take this off. But the next step is to take this bumper beam off. And that consists of bolts. Bam, bam. 2 down there. Bam, bam. This side. Bam, bam. 2 down there. Bam, bam. All right, let's do that. All right, got that out. Just 8 screws. They're 12 millimeters. You're gonna need a long extension to get in there to get them. But once you get that off, now, this is a 12 millimeter. We are going to take this off and flip this around and then bolt that back up. And then we could take all this off. Bam, bam. All right, we're not gonna use that again. So we're gonna take this off, flip this around, bolt that back up. And then after that, we gotta take the rest of this beam off right here, which are these 2 bolts, and then 2 bolts hidden back there. But in order to get to them, we gotta take this kind of off. So we'll get to that point. But first, I'm gonna do this. All right, so there it is, turned around. Now to get this beam off, we're gonna have to move this because it's in the way. First we'll take that clip off, so this is loose. Then we got this bolt, then we got this bolt, then this right here. Focus. Get the needle nose, squeeze that so this wire harness can pop off. And then we got a bolt. You're probably not gonna be able to see it. Where is it? It's right there. If you can barely see it, right there. Bam, there it is. You gotta take that bolt off, so you're gonna need a long extension to take that off. So we're gonna take those 3 bolts off, and this clamp, and this, and I'll be back. All right, so after you take those 3 bolts off, you squeeze that so you can take that harness off. And then I also unclipped this from here. This is up there, and it dropped now. Now those 2 bolts right there, I can access. In order to get that far bolt right there that was in that hole, I needed a double extension. What is that, my 12-inch extension plus a 6-inch to get all the way down in there like that to get that out. It's probably gonna be a bitch putting that screw back in. We'll find out. But now, since we have room, we can come in here and take these 2 bolts off. Boom, boom. Take these 2 bolts off. Boom, boom. We'll take this harness off of here, and then we pull that off. And then once we pull this off, we're gonna get all this, and we're just gonna bolt it all back up and clip it back up. So let me get those 4 bolts out. So here's some advice. These bolts were in there pretty tough. I had to use a breaker bar, or somewhat of a breaker bar. But that bottom one wouldn't go in straight. I was kind of at an angle, that lower one, and I didn't want to strip the bolt. So I did this, my extensions, and I put a little swivel on the end. That way to ensure that it was just on there nice and straight before I broke it off. You don't want to strip those bolts, then it's gonna be a bitch getting them off. So yeah, that's what I did. But I'm gonna finish taking this off. All right, there it is. Got it out. Uh-oh. All right, so anyways, got this out, 4 bolts. I'll tell you what too, man, this little thing right here, it's gotta be like 15 pounds, man. This shit right here too, I mean, that shit got some weight to it, man. Weight reduction. Now, the new bar we're putting on, this got a little bit of weight, man, but nothing compared to what we just took off. So, weight reduction, baby. All right, anyways, so now that we got that out, we can hook this back up. So, say a little nipple. Shit. Okay, there we go. So I'll hook this back up, put it in there, like so, bam. And then I will line everything up and put your screws back in. Boom. That one gets that nut. And that screw that's probably gonna be a bitch that's way back in there. And then get this up here and put that in. So let's go do that. All right, first issue of the fucking day. Got those that screw in, got that in. And like I said, that bolt back there, or that screw, it's just a fucking bitch to try to get in. And I ended up cross threading. So I ended up cross threading this. So I can't screw it in anyways, and I know it because I tried to screw this in this one and it wouldn't screw in. So yeah, and I can't leave it like that because it shakes. It needs to stay sturdy, you know, under heavy acceleration it's gonna shake. False no car, that bullshit. So I'm not gonna let this hold me up. I'm gonna continue with the intercooler, and then at the end before I put the bumper on, because I still got to cut my bumper. That's going to be another video. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take probably this fender off. That way a whole bunch of room, I'm gonna go get another bolt and I'm going to bolt it in, or I'll figure out something to get that mounted up there though. But yeah, first issue of the day. So bypass that part, let's move on. Now we're good, we're ready to go. Now it's time. Now it's time to start putting this bad boy on. First things first are these brackets. Remove all these stickers and stuff. These brackets are gonna mount up here. Let me clear all this out the way and I'll show you how it mounts. Alright, so now you got your hardware. This is going to go on there like this. You don't want it upside down or like this. So it goes on there. There's Grimmspeed in the front. This goes like this. Now these, you want your logos facing up. Goes in the back. Right here. Bam. Just like that. And then same with the other side. Use your screws. So we're gonna mount or screw these brackets into the yeah. We're gonna screw these brackets into the intercooler. Let's go. Alright, once you get your brackets on, I tie these down all the way. Grimmspeed said to keep them loose, but that's retarded because once you have it on there, how the fuck are you gonna tighten it? But I just test fit it anyways and the holes line up, so I tightened those down, but I left those ones loose on top. Grimmspeed supplies the 2 bolts for the sides. For that top one, you're gonna have to take this one off. Bam. So I'm gonna take this off, get that, put it up, and bolt everything in. We're doing good, fellas. Now the fun part. Got that in, buckled up. I put these back in because I was cleaning, but piping. Here's all your piping, and then we got this thing right here. Bam. This goes on your turbo where we pulled off the charge pipe. So we're gonna go back under the car. Focus. Alright, there's your turbo inlet, goes here, and your charge pipe was here. This is going to go up here and bolt in there like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and bolt that in. Make sure you have your gasket. And be careful bolting that in. You don't want to strip your bolts. So hand tighten it first. It should hand tighten pretty easily, and then you can tighten it down. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that on there. Alright, there it is. Be careful with these. It was real easy. I was able to hand tighten those almost all the way down. And then I just used this and tightened them. Don't over torque them, just tighten them enough. But now this is on. Cool. Alright, so I organized my clamps. These are my 3 larges. I guess these are my mediums, 8 of them. Small, extra small. You're gonna grab this one. It's the only one like it. 2 smaller ends are these. So this one will go in here, and this one will go in here. You want to orientate it like that. And then this is going to go on there. So this side will go, this side will go on there. So I'm gonna do that now. Alright, there we are. Push this all the way down on there. Got my worm clamp all the way down. I didn't tighten it all the way. It's still loose a little. Well, I didn't tighten it all the way. But we want to make sure it's all the way down, all the way around. You have this one on too. Now, essentially what we're going to do is get this that we took off at one piece and put it in. You see, the bypass valve will go into that inlet up there, and that will go there. Probably gonna have to finagle it and play around with it, but essentially that's how that goes. That goes in there, and that lines up there. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Alright, quick update. That is being a bitch. Obviously, I mean, it just doesn't line up perfect. So you gotta kind of like try to finagle it on. But the issue I was running into was on my bypass valve. The line that goes there kept popping off because I didn't have enough slack. It was just too short. Because I had the Cobb LF bypass valve. They gave me a long line. I just never used it. I just used the OEM one. But I need to use this now because that's too short. I need a longer. So I had to run home, get the supply line, and now I'm basically replacing that. So I'm just going to make this longer so it doesn't pop out. Then I'm going to go back down there and try to get all that back on. Alright, so this is a bitch, man. Whew, I'm not even done yet. I've been fucking with this for maybe 45 minutes to an hour. It just doesn't line up, so I'm telling you guys, you're just gonna have to play with it, man. You're just gonna have to play with it, finagle it. That's even a fucking word. Just to try to get it to fit. What I ended up doing was, well, I hooked this up now, but this was off. So the turbo inlet was completely off. The bypass valve was off. I put this piece on first, right? I put it on there, put it down, lined it up, and I clamped it down. I had to put the clamp a certain way. Where is it? Anyways, I had to put the clamp like that. Grimmspeed says to have the bolt on this side, but it wouldn't work because it was hitting the turbo inlet. So instead of putting the bolt on this side, I put it on the opposite side, if you can see over there, and then tightened it down. So instead of that side, I put it on the far side toward the back of the car, tightened it down. Then I got my bypass valve. I put my bypass valve in there. Where am I? Right here. And once I put my bypass valve in there, I didn't tighten that down. Then I got my turbo inlet and I popped it up into the bypass valve, and I'm trying to line it up with the holes now. It still doesn't line up perfectly, but it's a lot better than it was. But yeah, man, this was a bitch. I'm telling you now, it's a bitch. Mine didn't line up. This just was off a little bit. This design is just off, so it doesn't line up perfectly. So you just gotta play with it, guys. You're just gonna have to play with it and try to get it to work. But yeah, let me try to finish this and see if I can get those bolts in and everything buckled up. All right, fellas, I got it. Let's see. There it is. Man, that sucked, dude. But I got it. Recap again. I put this on first. I put the bolt on the other side. What I mean is this a C-clamp. How you tighten it, that screw or bolt. It's on the other side. You can't see it, but put that on, tightened it. Then I put the bypass valve on, put it in there. Put the bypass valve on, stuck it in there. And I got the inlet, stuck the inlet up in the bypass valve. Then I pushed this line this up with the turbo, and I screwed them in. Be very careful screwing these in. Make sure you have this lined up exactly with the holes. I literally was forcing one side up and twisting it just to get it perfectly lined up, to screw it all the way in with my fingers till it got so far that on both sides, and then I tightened it with the wrench. But yeah, there it is. I got my extra line right here that I had to use. I'm gonna cut it right here and hook it under there. Then I can hook all this stuff back up, which is this goes over here, down there, and the other hose, wherever it is, goes right here. But looks like I'm gonna have to go on the other side of this, because this ain't gonna reach. So I probably have to go on the other side of this and fish it down through here to get in there. Man, that sucked. But now it's the home stretch. It's all fun from here, because now I get to do the piping, you know, the piping here, and then the piping on the hot side. And we're done. But yeah, man, this part right here, getting all this lined up is a bitch. It's a bitch. Make sure your bolts are nice and tight, and make sure all your clamps are clamped nice and tight. Once all this is together, it's not going nowhere, man. This shit's so solid, it's not going nowhere, because it's just too much of it is just hooked up to with each other. But you want to make sure you still got all your clamps nice and tight. But yeah, man, fuck. I'm tired of being under the car. Finish this up so we can start doing the funner stuff. All right, now that we got that in there, I got everything buckled up. Got all of it plugged in, all the vacuum lines plugged in, everything's good. Oh, I still gotta put that in, but I'll wait for that. Now what I'm gonna do is, so this screw right here, this was up like this, and that's the screw was holding it. I just unscrewed it, let it hang, and put the screw back there so I didn't lose it. But you need this loose, because we're gonna put my pipe in, which is this one. Goes in like this, short side, intercooler, long side, fishes under there. And you're gonna need two couplers. These are your couplers. You got 3 of them that are like this, with a bigger side and a smaller side, kind of angled. You're gonna need 2 of these. Actually, you're gonna need 1 of these. And then your clamps that you have left, 3 large ones, 8 medium ones. 1 large one goes on this end, 1 medium one goes on this end, and then that's going to go on here, large side here, with the large clamp on that side and the medium clamp on this side. And then you're gonna need another, I think it's a medium clamp, either a medium or a large clamp to go on this thing that we just installed under there. It's from the end right there. Yeah, it's either a medium or a large clamp, I don't know, it's one of them. I think it's a medium, and that's gonna go on there. So I'm gonna do that now. So bam, make sure you put it all the way in. Large clamp, and then it's a medium clamp that actually goes on that bottom one. Now we're gonna get this pipe, and it's gonna fish like this. So the shorter side goes right here. The longer side is gonna go under all of this, and then fish up. Well, you get the drift in there, and we're gonna push both sides in and then clamp them down. Make sure you go over those beads, and then the clamps over those beads also, like right after the beads. So you want this to go in far enough, and then you want your clamp So like that. All right. Bam, looking good, son, looking good. Got it all tightened down. This is just to my fan. Bam, looks good. I zip tied it right here. It's on there nice and snug. It ain't gonna move nowhere. But I zip tied it to this bracket. You don't have to. Mine was hanging under it. I was just worried like if a big bump occurred, it might hit that bracket or something. So I just zip tied it to the bracket. Nobody could see it anyways, and look, that shit's solid. It ain't going nowhere. So yep. Bam. Whew. Looking clean, baby. Looking clean. Yes. All right, the next thing we're gonna do is put the bumper bar on like this. All right, heads up. Here's another issue. You're gonna want to put your bumper bar on before you put this pipe on and that pipe, because I can't access that bottom hole because the pipe's in the way. So I can't get that bolt in there. So what I'm gonna have to do is unclamp it, give me enough slack to stick this bolt in there, and then tighten this one down with just a wrench and use a socket for these ones. But yeah, if you put this bumper bar on before you put this piece on, you'll be able to use a ratchet. Okay, now I got the beam in. Everything's tightened down. You want to do a quick run through. Make sure all your clamps are tightened down. Turbo inlet, your bypass valve, the bypass valve to the intercooler piping from the turbo. Want to make sure everything is clamped down and buckled up. Once you got everything in, you're going to want to put this piece back up. That screw goes in this hole, but you can't screw it in because the pipe is in the way. So you're going to have to cut some of this fender in order to get that up there. So I'm going to do that. Once you get that all done, now I made sure everything was buckled down on this side, tightened, good to go. This side is completely done. Now, what we want to do is do the hot side. So we took our intercooler out. Now we have to take this plastic coupler off. And it is this clamp right here. We're going to have to take that clamp off and take this piece off. And then we're going to replace that piece with this one. We got 3 of these. One we put right here. One goes where I just said. And then the third one goes on the hot side, the other side of the intercooler. So with this one, we're going to need another large clamp. Bam. And a medium clamp. Bam. So this goes on here. Goes over there once we take that other piece out. All right, so once you get that piece out, do it to collection. That's what it's gonna look like. Bam. You get your coupler. The big side goes on the throttle body. So we're gonna put that on, but don't clamp it down yet because we're gonna need to do adjustments while you put the rest of the piping. So we'll throw that on, and then this pipe goes on like this, the smaller side. So we'll put this on the throttle body, and we'll put this pipe on there, and then it bolts down where your intercooler bracket used to be. But don't bolt it down yet. So I'm gonna go ahead and do those steps. All right, looking good. Just got this in. Got it all coupled in, tightened down. Make sure everything's flush all the way in. I didn't tighten them down all the way. I just got them a little snug. Got those bolts snug. I'm gonna go through and tighten everything once we're done. But now that that's in, you're gonna need to get this piece that comes in your kit. Where this goes is next to your battery on this pinch weld right here. That will go down there. Then you're gonna get your, these are what you have left. You're gonna get your smaller one. Then you're gonna get your 2 medium clamps, have that on there. And this is gonna go on here. Obviously I probably want the Grimmspeed logo facing that way, but you're gonna put that on. And then this pipe goes on. But before I get to this pipe, I'm gonna do that pinch weld and put these on. All right, now that we got that on, got my coupler on, I got my 2 clamps ready to go. I got my pinch weld on down there, you see it? Now, we are going to grab this pipe and this 90-degree coupler. This pipe, the shorter end, which is that end, goes into here. And this 90 is going to squeeze on here. Okay. So make sure you put a medium clamp on the end of that. And now what we're going to do is take this cap off just so we can move it out the way. So it should look like that. Bam. There it is. We're going to put that on there. Then we're going to get another clamp and put that on there. Let me do that real quick. All right, pretty much done, fellas. So, got that in. It's hanging on here. Make sure you position that clamp so you can tighten it down. And we're going to put another clamp here. And then we're going to take this off. Put another clamp here. This piece is going to get large and small. And then this medium, or a large and a medium, and then this other medium goes on here. And as you can tell, this very last pipe is going to go in here like this. You don't want to tighten that down because you might have to angle this in a certain way for it to fit. So, yep, let's do it. Yeah, there it is. Now, just tighten everything down. I had 2 T-bolt clamps, so I'm using those for these 2. For here and here. And then just the regular clamps for all the rest of them. But now I'm gonna just tighten everything down. And then we're done. But I still have to fix this, remember? So I'm working on that after tightening that down. Bam, baby. Looking good. Everything's out. Bam, baby, there it is. Everything's looking good. Now you're just gonna want to run through, triple check everything, triple check, make sure everything's tightened down on both sides. And then you're done. But me, so this was clamped into that small bumper beam that we took out. So I'm going to zip tie it to this so it stays stationary. After I zip tie that, I just gotta take this fender off and fix that, put that screw back there so this stays still. Then we're done. Let me throw the bumper on, fan on, and we're done. But I'm going to be cutting my bumper. It's going to be a separate video. So let me go ahead and finish the rest of this other than the bumper. All right, I got it. I had to take this screw out, which dropped this. So took that screw out, dropped this. Had to pop the clip out that was over here. Those two clips out to just give me enough room. There's the screw. Use this long ass thing. And the screw is stripped, so I got this bolt and I threaded it on the screw using these two things. I like forced it, and then I was able to get it in. Just pushed it really fucking hard and turned it, and it started tightening. And now, look at that, no play. We're in there, baby. We're motherfucking in there, baby. All right, so now I'm gonna just buckle all this shit up, and we'll be back. All right, fellas. So got everything buckled up, other than my bumper, because I'm cutting my bumper. So I gotta make a video while I cut this out. I'll probably do that either later today or tomorrow. I gotta work tonight. But as far as everything on the car is together, make sure that all my vacuum lines and stuff are plugged back in. Put the fan back in, plug the fan up. Essentially everything's done. I fixed this issue over here that I showed you. The coolant reservoir. Fixed that, plugged everything up. So everything is plugged up other than my lights that plug up to the bumper. Obviously I can't do that because the bumper's off. But everything else is plugged up. So my Grimmspeed J-pipe is actually on the way. It should be here in I believe 2 days, 2 more days. So that install video is going to be next week. I have to wait on that one because I'm getting LASIK eye surgery done in like 4 or 5 days. So I won't be able to work on the car for a few days. But next week I'm doing that. So while the car was up, I decided to spray it with some liquid wrench. So I sprayed it early in the morning, a bunch all over the 4 bolts, heat shield bolts, O2 sensors, sprayed it everywhere. Then I worked on the car, then I sprayed it a few hours later. And now, after I start the car, make sure I don't have no check engine light, stuff like that, I'm gonna spray liquid wrench on it again because I'm riding with my girlfriend to work, so I don't need to dry the car. So I'm gonna soak it again so it can soak all night. And then tomorrow, I will hopefully have the bumper cut off, or cut out, the grill of the bumper cut out, put back on the car, and then lower the car, and the car will be done. And then I'll be driving the car for a few days. And then next weekend when I install the J-pipe, I will probably jack the car up, spray this again, let it sit overnight. Then in the morning, spray it again. And let it soak for about an hour while I eat breakfast, and then try to get those bolts off. So I've been spraying a lot of liquid wrench on there because I know these bolts are a bitch. So I'm just hopefully with all this soaking I'm doing, they're gonna come out easier. Not easy, you know they're not gonna come out easy. Hopefully they come out easier. So but right now, I am going to start the car as is and see if everything's okay. Let's do it. All right, so it might smoke a little bit because there's still some liquid wrench residue on the outside of the turbo and the bolts and stuff like that. So we're not worried about that, but let's see what happens. Looks good. Yeah, that liquid wrench. liquid wrench is burning a little bit, smoking. As expected. So far, everything looks good. Airflow looks good. Learning looks good. I mean, obviously I'm not driving the car, it's just a start, but just protect my seats, man. But yeah, other than that liquid wrench burning off, it looks good. Pequeño. Grande. Out with the old, in with the new.